You're not tired of life. You're tired of chasing money that never stays. You wake up every morning working for paper that disappears by nightfall, and no matter how much you make, it's never enough, because money has mastered you. But here's the truth. The wealthy don't work for money. They make money work for them. This isn't luck. It's strategy. And in this audiobook, you're about to break that cycle. You're going to stop serving money and start commanding it. Welcome to the power of cash flow mastery. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Every day, we drop new lessons to help you transform your mindset, master your money, and build true freedom. Your support helps this channel grow, and together, we'll help more people break free from financial struggle. So hit that subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and let's grow. One powerful mindset at a time. Chapter 1. Stop working for money. You've been told all your life, work hard, earn money, save what's left. That's the formula, right? That's what they told you in school. That's what your parents modeled. That's what society repeats. Work harder, get promoted, make more. But here's the truth they never told you. Your job was never designed to make you rich. It was designed to keep you working. You've been taught to earn, not to build. To trade your time for a paycheck. To clock in and clock out and call that security. But security is an illusion when your freedom depends on someone else's approval. Let me ask you this. If you stop showing up tomorrow, how long will your money last? A week, a month, maybe 3? That's not security. That's survival. And survival is not wealth. You see, real wealth begins the moment you realize that income is not the same as independence. You can earn 6 figures and still be broke. You can have a title, a corner office, and still be financially trapped. Because money that depends on your time isn't freedom. It's a leash. That's why you must stop working for money and start making money work for you. The illusion of earning, let's be honest, most people aren't working for dreams. They're working for bills, for rent, for debt, for food, for survival. They wake up not because they're inspired, but because they're obligated. That's not life. That's a treadmill. And the faster you run, the more exhausted you become. You've been conditioned to believe that the answer is more work. Work harder. Stay longer. Push through. But the truth is, no one ever got rich by working harder. They got rich by working smarter, by building systems that worked when they didn't. The wealthy don't wake up thinking, how much can I earn today? They wake up asking, how much can my money earn while I sleep? That's the shift. That's the separation between the struggling and the free. The 40-year trap, the average person spends 40 years earning, 40 years trading time for paper, 40 years giving energy to build someone else's vision. And at the end of those 40 years, they retire tired, limited, and often broke, living off a pension that barely covers their freedom. Meanwhile, the wealthy spend 10 years building systems that pay them forever. 10 focused years building cash flow, not paychecks. 10 years of discipline to buy a lifetime of freedom. So the question is not, how long will you work? The question is, what are you building while you work? Because if all you're building is someone else's dream, you'll wake up one day realizing you were just a tool, not an owner. Money as a servant. Here's a truth the wealthy understand deeply. Money is a servant, not a master. They don't chase it. They command it. They tell their money where to go, what to build, who to serve. And because they respect it as a tool, it multiplies for them. But you've been taught to fear money, to save it, hoard it, protect it. You treat it like a fragile pet, not a worker. You hide it in savings accounts that lose value while the world moves forward. You were never meant to serve money. You were meant to lead it. That's why I'll repeat this until it burns into your brain. Don't work for money. Make money work for you. Say it again. Don't work for money. Make money work for you. Because until you believe that, you'll keep trading time for survival instead of strategy. The shift in mindset. So how do you stop working for money? You start thinking like a builder, not a laborer. You start using your income to buy your time back, not to increase your lifestyle. You use every dollar as a seed, not a souvenir. A seed that grows into something that pays you back. You build streams. Multiple ones. Small at first, maybe a side business, an investment, a piece of digital property. But those streams grow, and soon they form rivers. Rivers of cash flow that move whether you're awake or asleep. You don't need millions to start. You need understanding. You need discipline. You need direction. The wealthy didn't start rich. They started intentional. They asked one question daily. How can I make this dollar bring a friend back? That's the key. You don't save to feel safe. You save to invest. You don't earn to survive. You earn to buy freedom. You don't serve money. You train it to serve you. The power of systems. Think of your money like an employee. Would you ever hire someone and let them sit around doing nothing? Then why do you let your money do that? Every dollar in your account should have a job, a mission, a purpose. Because idle money dies. Working money multiplies. That's why the wealthy build systems, investments, businesses, automation. Systems that don't rely on mood, emotion, or exhaustion. Systems that produce while they live. You can do the same. Start with one, a skill, a product, an idea that solves a problem. Build it once, let it sell forever. That's the formula, and once you see that happen once, you'll never think the same again. Breaking the chain. This chapter is about unlearning. Unlearning the lie that your worth equals your income. Unlearning the belief that more hours equals more success. Unlearning the idea that stability means safety, because real safety isn't in the job, it's in your control over cash flow. When you own the flow, you own your future. So stop chasing raises. Start building revenue streams. Stop asking for permission. Start building your power. You don't need to quit your job, but you do need to quit the mindset. The mindset that says, I'll work until I can't. No, you'll build until you don't have to. That's the difference between the working class and the wealthy class. One works for money. The other makes money work for them. And that's the mantra I want you to take from this chapter. Don't work for money. Make money work for you. Say it out loud. Write it down. Repeat it until it becomes your truth. Because the moment you internalize that, your life changes. You've just learned the first law of freedom. Money should move for you, not the other way around. This is where financial mastery begins. Not with earning more, but with thinking differently. You've broken the illusion of working for money. Now, it's time to understand the system that keeps you stuck in that illusion. The next step is seeing the invisible trap most people never escape. You've mastered the mindset. Now let's expose the system. Chapter 2. The prison of monthly income. You've been taught to celebrate payday, to wait 30 days for your reward, to live for that one moment when money finally arrives. But that's not freedom. That's the prison of monthly income. Every month, the same pattern repeats. You work, you wait. You get paid, you spend. Then you start over. You're not free. You're trapped in a loop that was designed to keep you comfortable, obedient, and broke. Let me be clear. The paycheck cycle is modern slavery. It's predictable. It's safe. And that's exactly why it's dangerous. Because the same rhythm that feels secure also kills your drive. It kills your creativity. It kills your hunger. You stop thinking about growth. You start thinking about survival. You don't ask, how can I expand? You ask, will I make it to next month? That's not living. That's waiting. And every month you wait for payday, you reinforce the lie that your value comes from a paycheck instead of your potential. The cycle of dependence. Let's break this down. You work for 30 days. You get one deposit. You pay your bills, and you're broke again, waiting for the next cycle to repeat. You call that stability, but it's not stability and it's dependency, because your life is built on someone else's schedule. Your survival depends on a system that decides when you eat. That's not stability. That's control, and it's subtle because it feels safe. You tell yourself, at least I know what's coming. But that's the trap. You know what's coming, and it's never more than enough to survive. You've become addicted to predictability, and predictability kills progress. You can't grow inside the same system that keeps you comfortable. You can't create wealth inside a structure that rewards obedience. You have a choice: stay safe or get free. That's the key. The illusion of safety. You were raised to believe that a steady paycheck is success. That working for a company for 20 years makes you responsible. That climbing the ladder is achievement. But here's the truth. That ladder was built to keep you climbing, not to let you reach the top. You can't build freedom on fixed income. You can't create wealth when your earnings are capped by someone else's decision. A paycheck is not progress, it's pacification. It's how the system keeps you silent. As long as you keep getting paid just enough to stay, you'll never dare to leave. That's why so many people die inside their careers. They confuse consistency with fulfillment. They confuse control with freedom, and when you finally realize it, it's too late. You're too tired, too deep, too afraid to start over. That's how the prison works. The difference between income and flow. Let's make one thing clear. Income is not the enemy. Dependence is. Money itself isn't evil, but relying on one stream of it is. When your only source of income is your job, you're one decision away from disaster. One layoff, one crisis, one change, and everything stops. That's the danger of the paycheck mindset. It gives you the illusion of control while keeping you completely powerless. You must shift from income mindset to cash flow mindset. Income stops when you stop. Cash flow moves when you rest. An employee sleeps. Money stops. A business owner sleeps. Money moves. That's the difference between exhaustion and freedom. You don't have to own an empire to have flow. You can start small. A digital product, an automated service, an investment. But you must start thinking like a builder, not a laborer. Your goal is not another paycheck. Your goal is to create something that pays you while you live your life. That's the blueprint. That's the beginning of wealth. The mental trap of enough. I just need enough to get by. That's the most dangerous sentence you'll ever believe, because enough keeps you small. Enough kills ambition. Enough keeps you trapped in cycles of survival. You've been told to be grateful. Gratitude is good, but passivity is poison. You can be thankful for what you have and still demand more. You can appreciate your job and still outgrow it. You don't need their permission to want freedom. You don't need anyone's approval to build something of your own. You have a choice. You can keep chasing comfort, or you can choose control, because here's the truth. Comfort never made anyone rich. Discipline did. It's not about greed, it's about growth. It's not about more money, it's about more control. Control over your time, your energy, your destiny. How to break free from the cycle. Here's how you start breaking out of the prison of monthly income. Step 1. Track every dollar you earn and make it move. If your money only sits in your account, it's dying. Give it a job, invest it, grow it. Step 2. Build one new stream of cash flow. It can be small, $50, $100, $200 a month, but it must be independent of your labor. That's your proof of concept that freedom is real. Step 3. Automate your system. Set rules for your money so it flows without emotion. When money moves by discipline, not desire, you gain control. That's how freedom begins, not in big leaps, but in small. Automated decisions repeated over time. Remember this, you don't escape the prison by quitting your job. You escape it by creating new flows that make your job optional. You don't need to be reckless. You need to be strategic. You don't need to gamble. You need to grow. That's the key. The truth about freedom, real freedom, isn't knowing when your next payment comes. Real freedom is knowing it comes, even when you don't show up. That's when you've won. When you can take a day off without guilt. When you can wake up without pressure. When your life moves because your money moves. That's not a dream. That's design. And you can build it. It starts with rejecting the paycheck prison. It starts with seeing the illusion for what it is. A comfortable cage. Because every time you say, at least I get paid on Friday, you're accepting a system that profits from your fear. You're better than that. You're bigger than that. You have a choice to keep earning or to start building. You've just exposed the truth about the paycheck cycle. Now you know the system. You see the cage. You understand that safety is not freedom, and predictability is not progress. You're ready to step into the next level, the phase where control begins. Because once you understand how money flows, you can start directing it with intention. And when you control the flow, you control the game. Chapter 3. Control the flow. Control the game. You've heard it before. Cash is king. But that's not the whole truth. Cash flow is the real throne, because money sitting still is dead. Money moving with purpose is power. Cash flow is the bloodstream of wealth. Control the flow and you control the game. Lose control, and the game controls you. That's the difference between those who build empires and those who just survive paycheck to paycheck. You see, money doesn't disappear. It just flows somewhere. If you're not directing that flow, someone else is. Every dollar you earn is energy. If you don't give that energy direction, it leaks. It gets spent. It vanishes into habits, convenience, impulse. So the first rule of the wealthy is simple. Track the flow. Command the flow. Master the flow. You can't fix what you don't measure. You can't command what you don't understand. And yet, most people don't know where their money goes. They think they have a spending problem. But what they really have is a control problem. A lack of direction, a lack of purpose. They earn. They spend. They hope it works out. That's not mastery. That's gambling. Listen carefully. Wealth isn't built by chance. It's built by control. Cash flow is control. Control is power. Say it again. Cash flow is control. Control is power. When you control the flow, you decide what grows. You decide what gets funded. Your freedom or your frustration. Your investments or your insecurities. Your future or your fears. Let me give it to you straight. You will never escape financial pressure until you take control of where your money goes. Every single dollar. The average person budgets only when they're broke. The wealthy budget to stay rich. They don't wait for crisis, they prevent it. That's the difference between defense and domination. You can't win a game you're not watching. And right now, too many people are blind to their own scoreboard. Here's what control looks like in practice. Every month, before you spend a single cent, you assign your money a mission. You decide how much flows to investments, how much flows to expenses, how much flows to growth. Because every dollar must have a destination. If it doesn't, it gets lost. Money without direction becomes chaos. Money with purpose becomes momentum. You don't need to make more money to change your life. You need to master the flow of the money you already have. That's the truth nobody wants to hear. You don't need another raise. You need a system. You don't need another side hustle. You need discipline. It's not about income. It's about allocation. And here's the key. Control isn't about restriction. It's about command. You're not cutting back because you're poor. You're cutting back because you're powerful. Because you're choosing to control the direction of your flow instead of letting your flow control you. Remember, cash flow is control. Control is power. Say it until it becomes part of your DNA. The poor chase income. The wealthy design flow. That's why they sleep at night while others stress. Their money moves on autopilot toward freedom. It's not luck. It's structure. It's not talent. It's tracking. It's not mystery. It's math, because money loves clarity, and it runs away from confusion. If your money disappears every month, that's your signal. It's not the economy. It's not inflation. It's not your boss. It's your lack of control. But that's good news, because control is something you can build. You have a choice. Right now, today, you can decide to stop leaking wealth. Start by facing your flow. List every expense, every subscription, every leak. Don't judge it, see it, because awareness is the foundation of control. Then, build your flow map. Where should your money go first? How much goes to investments, to savings, to education, to impact? That's how the wealthy think. Every dollar has a job. Every flow has a purpose. You control the flow. You control the game, and make no mistake, this is a game. A psychological, emotional, strategic game. Those who lose not because they're incapable, but because they play without rules. Those who win because they play by design. The goal isn't just to make money. It's to direct it, to turn your income into a system, to transform your effort into efficiency. You have a choice. You can be a player who reacts to every bill, every crisis, every impulse. Or you can be a commander who moves resources with precision and power. That's what cash flow mastery is about. That's what control feels like. Cash flow is control. Control is power. When you take command of your flow, everything changes. Stress turns into structure. Anxiety turns into awareness. Panic turns into purpose. You stop asking, where did my money go? and start saying, here's what my money is doing. That's the shift from chaos to control, from reaction to leadership, from slavery to sovereignty. You don't need permission to do this. You don't need more money to start. You need clarity, courage, and consistency. That's the key. Because when you control the flow, you control the game. You've now learned how to command your cash flow. You've seen that control isn't about deprivation, it's about direction. Because when money obeys your plan, freedom follows your command. Now that you understand control, it's time to learn the next principle of mastery, the mindset that multiplies everything you've built. You've controlled your flow. Now let's talk about how to make that flow grow exponentially. Chapter 4. Assets are your employees, written in the direct, tough love coaching tone, structured for rhythm, authority, and transformation. You've been told to work hard. You've been told to grind. Hustle, stay late, sacrifice your sleep, your peace, your life, all for money. But let me tell you the truth. Hard work doesn't make you free. Ownership does, because at some point your body gets tired. Your mind gets exhausted. And if your income depends on your effort, you're trapped. You don't own your time. Your job does. Your boss does. Your bills do. That's not wealth. That's modern slavery, dressed up as success. The wealthy know something different. They understand this law. Every asset is an employee that never sleeps. When you buy an asset, you're hiring a worker. A rental property? That's an employee. A dividend stock? Another employee. A business system, a YouTube channel, a digital product. Every one of those is an employee that works 24 hours a day. No breaks, no sick days, no excuses. The wealthy don't just make money. They hire money. They put their dollars to work. Because money that just sits still is lazy, and lazy money makes you poor. You want freedom? Then stop working for money and start making money work for you. This is the shift. It's not about being busier. It's about being smarter. Most people spend their lives chasing approval, trying to look successful instead of becoming free. They buy clothes to impress, cars to validate, lifestyles to prove something to people who don't even care, but approval doesn't pay dividends. Approval doesn't generate cash flow. Approval doesn't buy your time back. Say it out loud. Buy assets, not approval. Own things that earn while you rest. That's the mantra. That's the key. That's the real secret of the wealthy. You have a choice. You can spend your life buying things that make you look rich, or you can spend your life buying things that make you become rich. You can't do both. The difference? Liabilities take from you. Assets give to you. Liabilities demand attention. Assets create independence. And you don't need millions to start. You just need one decision, because one good asset can buy your time back. One rental property can pay your rent. One online business can cover your bills. One digital product can create recurring income while you sleep. That's leverage. That's freedom. That's what the wealthy build. A team of assets that work harder than any human ever could. Let's make this practical. If you earn $3,000 a month, your goal is simple. Use part of that flow to buy your first employee. Maybe it's a stock that pays dividends. Maybe it's a vending machine. Maybe it's a digital course. Maybe it's an ebook or a YouTube channel that grows over time. It doesn't matter how small. What matters is direction. Because direction compounds faster than perfection. Every month you add one more asset, one more income stream, one more employee working quietly for your freedom. That's the game. That's how you buy your way out of the grind. Here's the truth most people never learn. You don't need to work harder. You need to make your money work harder. The poor trade time for money. The wealthy trade money for time. That's the mindset shift that separates the trapped from the free. Because if your income stops when you stop, you're not secure. You're at risk. You're one illness, one layoff, one crisis away from collapse. But if your assets keep working when you rest, that's true security. That's true independence. That's the difference between surviving and thriving. You have to think like a builder now. Every dollar is a brick. Every asset is a building block. You're constructing your financial fortress one piece at a time. That fortress protects your future. That fortress guards your freedom. And here's the most powerful truth of all. Once your assets start working for you, they can hire more assets. That's how wealth multiplies. That's how empires grow. One asset funds the next. And suddenly your employees are managing your empire while you live your life. You don't have to be there. You just have to build the system. So stop saying, I can't afford assets. Start saying, how can I afford assets? Because you can't afford not to. You have a choice. Spend $500 on something that depreciates, or invest $500 into something that compounds. Buy something that drains you, or something that frees you. It's not about how much you make. It's about what you make work for you. You don't need more income. You need more ownership. That's the mindset of mastery. Here's what you do, starting today. List your liabilities. Every subscription, every purchase that doesn't pay you back, write it down. List your potential assets. Things you can buy, build, or create that produce income. A product, a property, a platform. Redirect your cash flow. Instead of spending on pleasure, spend on power. Use every surplus dollar to hire a new employee. Reinvest the profits. Don't celebrate early. Build momentum. The first goal isn't luxury. It's liberation. Buy assets, not approval. Own things that earn while you rest. Say it again. Buy assets, not approval. Own things that earn while you rest. Because while most people sleep, their money sleeps too. But the wealthy, their money doesn't rest. It multiplies. You have a choice. Keep working for money, or start building a system where money works for you. That's the real definition of freedom. That's the real meaning of wealth. You don't need their permission. You don't need perfect timing. You need discipline, direction, and decisions that align with freedom. That's the key. Because freedom isn't something you buy. It's something you build. Build it one asset at a time, one flow at a time, one decision at a time. Buy assets, not approval. Own things that earn while you rest. Because when your assets start working for you, that's when you finally stop working for them. You've learned how to make money serve you. You've built control over your cash flow. And now, you've begun hiring your first real employees, your assets. But there's another level beyond ownership. A level where wealth becomes automatic. Where growth is no longer effort, it's momentum. And that's where we're going next. You've learned to build your team of assets. Now it's time to automate your wealth. Chapter 5. Spending is the enemy of freedom, approx. 1,050 words, 8 to 9 minutes spoken runtime. Written in the direct, commanding, tough love audiobook style used in high-performing self-mastery channels. Every line is designed for pacing, emotional impact, and repetition that drills transformation. You think you're living. You think you're rewarding yourself. You think you deserve it. But let's tell the truth. You're not rewarding yourself. You're relieving yourself. You're soothing your exhaustion by spending the very freedom you claim to be chasing. Most people confuse spending with living. But you can't buy freedom with consumption. You can't shop your way to peace. You can't spend your way into wealth. Every dollar you spend on vanity kills your financial destiny. That's not judgment. That's mathematics. You see, spending is a drug. It gives you the illusion of progress, the high of control, the feeling that you're winning. But you're not winning. You're bleeding. You buy things to feel alive. You post them to feel validated. You justify them to feel secure. But all the while, your freedom is leaking. Dollar by dollar, swipe by swipe, dopamine hit by dopamine hit. You have a choice. You can spend to impress, or you can save to escape. That's the difference between the rich and the broke. The poor buy things to look free. The wealthy buy freedom itself. That's the key. Freedom doesn't come from a purchase. It comes from discipline, from restraint, from saying no when everyone else says yes. You don't need their permission to stop spending. You just need the courage to stop pretending. Because here's the truth. You don't buy status. You rent it. The second you stop paying, it disappears. The car, the clothes, the lifestyle, all of it vanishes when the flow stops. But ownership stays. Discipline lasts, and assets compound. Let's be brutally honest. You don't lose freedom because you don't make enough. You lose it because you spend too much. The average person doesn't have an income problem. They have an impulse problem. They can't delay gratification. They can't walk away from the next upgrade, the next trip, the next piece of validation that tells the world, I made it. But listen carefully. Every time you spend to look rich, you confirm you're not. You're proving you're still dependent, still chasing, still controlled by the system you say you hate. You have to decide, will you keep feeding the illusion, or will you start funding your freedom? Let's paint the picture. Imagine two people making the same $5,000 a month. The first one buys a car he can't afford, goes out every weekend and scrolls through online stores to fill his boredom. He looks successful, but he's one emergency away from disaster. The second one drives something modest, lives below his means, takes the extra $1,000 and invests it. Month after month, 5 years later, he's free. His money is working while he sleeps. One is enslaved by appearance. The other is empowered by discipline. And you know what's wild? They started in the same place. But one chose consumption. The other chose control. You have that same choice. Spending feels good in the moment. Discipline feels good for life. That's the paradox of freedom. You gain it by giving up the things that trap you. You think sacrifice is loss, but it's not. It's leverage. Every dollar you refuse to waste is a soldier you send to war, fighting for your future. Every time you delay the unnecessary, you accelerate the inevitable, your financial independence. Because the truth is simple. Every dollar you spend on vanity kills your financial destiny. Every single one. Let's break it down. You buy a $100 pair of shoes instead of investing it. That's not $100 gone. That's thousands of dollars gone over time. That's years of compounding, years of freedom, wasted on appearance. You buy a new phone every year because you deserve it. But you're not buying technology. You're buying delay. You're buying another year of financial stagnation. You have to see spending for what it really is, a trade. You're trading your future for your present. You're trading peace of mind for a moment of pleasure, and the moment always fades. You don't need to stop enjoying life. You just need to redefine what enjoyment means. Real enjoyment is waking up without financial stress. It's choosing how to spend your day. It's living on your terms, not your lenders. That's what freedom feels like. That's what discipline buys. So no, you don't need another vacation. You need a strategy. You don't need a nicer car. You need control. You don't need to prove your worth. You need to protect it because it's not about image. It's about independence. Let's get practical. If you want to escape the cycle of spending, here's your battle plan. Audit every expense. Don't guess. Write it down. Every subscription, every delivery, every habit that eats your wealth in silence. Ask one question for every purchase. Does this buy freedom or does it buy distraction? If it buys distraction, walk away. Delay everything by 48 hours. Don't say no, just wait. Impulse dies with time. Reallocate, don't restrict. Take what you used to waste and reassign it. To investments, to savings, to assets that actually work for you. That's how you turn control into cash flow. That's how you turn spending into strategy. You have a choice. You can keep pretending that comfort is freedom. Or you can accept that discipline is, because spending doesn't make you free. It keeps you chained to the system. You're not buying luxury, you're buying dependence. The wealthy don't ask, can I afford this? They ask, will this make me freer? That's the mindset of mastery. That's the discipline of destiny. Every dollar you spend on vanity kills your financial destiny. Say it again. Every dollar you spend on vanity kills your financial destiny. You don't need their approval. You don't need to prove you've made it. You need to build it, and you build it through control, through ownership, through restraint. It's not about deprivation, it's about direction. You're not losing pleasure, you're gaining power. Because when you stop buying to impress, you start building to escape. You have the power to rewrite your story. You can stop spending to look alive and start investing to stay alive. You can stop consuming wealth and start creating it. That's your mission now. That's your path to freedom. Because freedom isn't something you buy, it's something you earn through restraint. You've learned to control the flow. You've learned to hire assets that work for you. And now you've learned to defend your freedom from the silent killer, spending. You've taken control of your habits. Now it's time to take control of your systems. Because freedom isn't built through chaos, it's built through structure. Let's go deeper. Chapter 6. Save to invest. Not to feel safe, you've been taught to save. To stack your money. To hide it away like a scared animal protecting scraps of food for winter. You call it being responsible. But let's be honest. Most people don't save out of discipline. They save out of fear, fear of loss, fear of risk, fear of the unknown. You tell yourself you're being smart, cautious, wise. But in truth, you're standing still. And standing still in a world that moves this fast is falling behind. You think your savings make you safe. They don't. They make you stuck. Because every day your money sits idle, it's losing power. Inflation eats it. Opportunity passes it. And fear keeps you trapped, clutching your cash like a life raft that's slowly sinking. That's not safety. That's slow financial death. Let's get this straight. Saving is not the problem. Saving without purpose is you save to invest. You save to build. You save to multiply. But saving just to feel safe? That's fear disguised as wisdom. That's comfort dressed as control. You're not growing. You're hiding. Every dollar you hoard because you're not ready yet is a soldier sitting on the sidelines. And while your soldiers are sleeping, someone else's army is conquering. That's the difference between the rich and the poor. The poor save to protect. The rich save to deploy. That's the key. Picture this. You've got $10,000 sitting in your account. It feels good. It gives you a little sense of security. You can check your balance and say, at least I'm safe. But are you? That money isn't growing. It's not creating. It's not working. It's like a stagnant pool of water. And stagnant water breeds mosquitoes, disease, decay. Now imagine that same $10,000 flowing into an investment that earns you more. That flowing water sustains life. It creates new streams. It multiplies. That's how wealth breathes. That's how freedom is built. Your money must move. Your money must work. Your money must serve a mission bigger than your fear. You have a choice. You can keep saving for safety or start saving for strategy. You can keep protecting your money from imagined disasters, or you can position it to build your future. The difference is mindset. It's not about fear. It's about discipline. Discipline means you control the flow. You direct it. You decide where it goes, how it grows, and what it brings back. But fear freezes you. It whispers lies. It tells you, wait until it's the right time. It says, you're not ready. Let me tell you something. The right time never comes. Read that again. There is no perfect time to invest. There's only the moment you decide to stop letting fear make your financial decisions. If you want to win this game, you must master the movement of money, because money that moves grows, and money that sits dies. Look around. The wealthy don't hold money. They circulate it. They understand that cash flow, not cash storage, builds empires. That's the truth most people never learn. They hoard. They wait, they cling, and by the time they finally feel ready, the opportunity has passed. The market moved. The doors closed. Opportunity doesn't wait for the fearful. It rewards the bold. Here's what you must understand. You don't build wealth by saving. You build wealth by deploying. Saving is step 1. Investing is step 2. If you stop at step 1, you've built a wall, not a bridge. Saving gets you control. Investing gets you freedom. That's the key, because the goal isn't to feel safe. It's to be so strong you no longer need safety. Think of your money as energy. If you trap energy, it weakens. If you let it flow, it powers everything. That's how wealth operates. It's not static. It's dynamic. It's alive. So here's your move. Stop saving to feel safe. Start saving to invest. Stop hoarding for security. Start planning for growth. Every time you hold back because you're scared, say this out loud. Fear is not a financial strategy. Let it sink in. You have a choice. You can be the person who saves for emergencies, or the one who creates a life where emergencies barely matter. You can live scared of losing, or live focused on winning. When you invest, you're not just growing money. You're growing courage. You're growing vision. You're growing freedom. Because the act of investing is an act of faith in your ability to create. It says, I believe I can turn this into more. That's confidence. That's power. You don't need their permission. You don't need the perfect moment. You just need to start small, start smart. But start. The habit of investment changes how you see every dollar. You'll stop seeing it as something to protect and start seeing it as something to deploy. And that shift, that mental rewiring, that's where wealth begins. Let's make it simple. If your money isn't working, it's wasting. If it's sitting, it's shrinking. If it's idle, it's dying. Let it move. Let it multiply. Let it work for you. Saving is the seed. Investment is the tree. Don't bury your seed out of fear. Plant it with purpose. That's how you win this game. That's how you master cash flow. You've learned to command your spending. Now it's time to command your saving. You've turned discipline into direction. Now, let's turn direction into multiplication, because your next level isn't about how much you save. It's about how much you build. You've learned to stop serving money. Now it's time to make it serve your vision. You mastered the flow. Now let's talk about control. Chapter 7. Build systems, not stress. You say you want freedom. You say you want peace. You say you want wealth without the constant anxiety. But here's the truth. You don't build freedom by working harder. You build freedom by building systems. Because systems don't sleep. Systems don't get emotional. Systems make you rich. You've been taught to hustle, to grind, to stay up late chasing more. But if your success depends on your energy, your mood, or your motivation, you're still a slave. You've just built a prettier cage. Real wealth isn't chaotic. It's consistent, predictable, structured, and that's the secret most people miss. You don't escape the grind by grinding harder. You escape it by engineering order. Structure creates freedom. Systems set you free. Say it again. Let it sink in. Structure creates freedom. Systems set you free. The world glorifies chaos. Go with the flow. Do what feels right. But feelings don't build fortunes. Systems do, because systems don't care about feelings. They don't wake up tired. They don't panic when the market shifts. They don't forget to save, invest, or grow. Systems work whether you're motivated or not. That's the key. Think about it. Every wealthy person you admire, they don't rely on willpower. They rely on design. They don't hope for discipline. They build it into the system. You see, discipline fails. Systems don't. A system is a discipline you no longer have to think about. It's the automation of your ambition. You want to save more? Stop trying. Set up automatic transfers. You want to invest consistently? Stop hoping you'll remember. Build auto-investing rules. You want to grow your business? Stop putting out fires every day. Create repeatable processes for what works. Then refine, repeat, expand. That's how wealth scales. Not through effort, through architecture. You have a choice. You can live reacting, or you can live designing. If you're reacting, you're constantly chasing bills, chasing deadlines, chasing the next idea that will save you. But if you're designing, you're calm, because you've built order around your priorities. Money moves when it should. Tasks happen without you forcing them. Opportunities multiply without chaos. That's structure. And structure creates freedom. Let's get practical. If you want to build systems, start with 3 flows. Income flow, expense flow, growth flow. Your income flow should be automated. Money comes in. Immediately it splits. A set percentage goes to investments. A set percentage goes to operations. A set percentage goes to you. No emotion, no delay, no debate, just flow. Your expense flow should be controlled. Bills paid automatically, subscriptions reviewed monthly, everything tracked, not guessed. You don't check your finances, you manage them with precision. Your growth flow is where you win. This is your system for multiplying wealth. Regular investments, reinvested profits, automated compounding. It runs while you sleep, because systems don't sleep. That's the game. Here's what kills most people's progress. They confuse activity with system. You work hard all week. You make money. But the second you stop, everything stops. That's not a business. That's a treadmill, and that treadmill runs on your time, your energy, your sanity. If you want peace, stop chasing activity. Start building structure. The goal isn't to be busy, it's to be built. You shouldn't have to chase momentum. Momentum should chase you. That's what happens when you build systems. Systems don't just organize your money. They organize your mind. When your money has direction, your mind has peace. When your process has rhythm, your life has flow. That's the power of structure. It gives you control without chaos. It gives you discipline without exhaustion, because every time you automate, you eliminate a decision, and every decision you remove is one less chance to fail. That's the secret weapon of high performers. They build guardrails that make success automatic. Let me make it clear. You don't need to be a genius to be rich. You just need to be systematic. The broke act on emotion. The wealthy act on process. You don't need more time. You need more automation. You don't need more hustle. You need more flow. If you can't build systems, you'll always build stress. That's the trade. You can either manage chaos or you can manage structure. You choose. So, what's the first step? Audit your life. Find where you still rely on willpower. Where are you trying instead of designing? If your success depends on memory, mood, or motivation, it's fragile. Replace every fragile routine with a system. Automate transfers, schedule investments, plan reinvestment strategies. Turn I should into it happens. That's how you take back control. Because freedom isn't about having nothing to do. It's about knowing everything important gets done without you worrying about it. That's wealth. And here's the paradox. The more structure you build, the more freedom you get. People think systems trap them, but it's chaos that keeps you trapped. Structure creates freedom. Systems set you free. Never forget that. Yuki, don't need to feel motivated every day when your system works every day. You don't need to trust your emotions when you trust your structure, and once that structure is in place, you stop surviving. You start scaling. Remember this, you can't control everything, but you can control the system that controls everything. That's the difference between stress and sovereignty, between chaos and command. Don't let your money depend on your mood. Let your system decide, because your system doesn't panic. It doesn't fear. It doesn't forget. It just performs. You've built discipline. You've learned to save, invest, and control flow. Now it's time to build the machine that keeps it all running. You're not chasing money anymore. You're commanding it. You're not reacting to life. You're engineering it. Because that's what mastery looks like. Not perfection, but predictable progress. You've built systems, not stress. And now, it's time to build something even more powerful. The ownership mindset that protects it all. Chapter 8. Multiply. Don't manage. Most people spend their lives trying to manage money. The wealthy spend their lives trying to multiply it. That's the difference. That's the mindset gap. And that's why most never escape mediocrity. You've been trained to be careful, to save for emergencies, to spend wisely. But let's be honest, managing money only keeps you comfortable, not free. And comfort is a slow death. The middle class manages. The wealthy multiply. When you manage money, you protect what you have. When you multiply money, you expand what you are. That's the key. The goal isn't to hold on to every dollar like it's your last breath. The goal is to put every dollar to work like it's your first employee. You see, every dollar you own is a worker, and every worker has a job to bring back more. If your dollars aren't working, they're wasting. If your money isn't multiplying, it's dying, because money loses power when it sits still. It inflates away. It evaporates through time and fear. And fear is what keeps people broke. You have a choice. You can live protecting, or you can live producing. When you live protecting, you hold back. You hide your capital behind safety. You think risk is your enemy, But risk isn't your enemy. Fear is, because risk properly managed is growth. Risk blindly avoided is stagnation. You've been told to be responsible. But responsibility without growth is just disguised fear. It's the illusion of control. The wealthy don't seek control. They seek leverage. They don't play not to lose. They play to win. And that's why their money multiplies while yours maintains. Let's talk about the difference. The middle class looks at a $1,000 and asks, how can I protect it? The wealthy look at the same $1,000 and ask, how can I multiply it? That single question changes everything. Because the answer directs your behavior. When your goal is protection, you hoard, you save, you delay, you wait, you drown in caution. But when your goal is multiplication, you move, you study, you build, you act. You don't wait for perfect timing. You create it. It's not about recklessness. It's about direction. You don't throw money blindly. You place it intentionally. You don't gamble. You position. Think of every decision you make with money as a direction. When you spend on liabilities, money flows away. When you invest in assets, money flows back. Every dollar is either walking away from you or walking back to you with friends. That's cash flow mastery. That's wealth psychology. And it begins when you stop thinking like a manager and start thinking like a multiplier. Let's make it practical. You get paid. The average person says, I'll save what's left. The wealthy say, I'll invest first. That's the difference. One reacts, one decides. Because the wealthy know it's not about how much you earn. It's about what your money does after you earn it. If your money's not moving, it's losing. If it's not growing, it's shrinking. That's the law of financial entropy. Everything declines unless you make it expand. So stop guarding your money like a scared soldier. Start sending it into the battlefield of opportunity. Train it, deploy it, multiply it, because safety doesn't make you free. Growth does. Here's the truth no one likes to admit. Managing money makes you feel responsible. Multiplying money makes you powerful. Responsibility keeps you safe. Power sets you free. That's the trade. If your money only exists to be managed, you've already lost. Because management is maintenance, and maintenance never builds empires. Empires are built by multipliers. People who see potential where others see protection. People who act while others analyze. You don't need to be reckless. You just need to stop being scared. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need approval to invest. You don't need guarantees. You need direction. Ask yourself this. Is this decision moving me toward expansion or maintenance? If it's maintenance, it dies slowly. If it's expansion, it multiplies quickly. That's the mindset shift that turns $1,000 into $10,000 and $10,000 into freedom. Because growth compounds, fear doesn't. Let me give you a simple analogy. Imagine two farmers. The first farmer stores all his seeds in a barn. He's proud. I've saved everything, he says, but next season, he has no crops. The second farmer plants his seeds. He risks the storm. He risks the sun. But come harvest, he owns a field. The first farmer managed, the second multiplied. That's you, right now. You're holding your seeds, or you're planting them. You decide. Every dollar you keep is a seed waiting for permission. It's not about how much you earn. It's about how many seeds you plant. And yes, not every seed will grow, but that's okay. Because the point isn't perfection, it's progress. You don't need every investment to win. You just need one system to grow, one asset to multiply, one flow that turns into freedom. That's the key. Stop managing your fear. Start managing your direction. Because here's what separates the wealthy from the rest. The wealthy measure opportunity. The poor measure risk. The wealthy see potential returns. The poor see potential losses. And here's the kicker. They're both right. But one gets richer. The other stays stuck. It's not about intelligence. It's about intention. You have to decide which game you're playing. The game of survival or the game of multiplication. You have a choice. You can manage what you have, or you can multiply who you are. You can cling to comfort, or you can create capacity. You can die protecting money, or live commanding it. Because the truth is simple. If your money isn't growing, your life isn't either. You can't manage your way to wealth. You can only multiply your way to freedom. So take this to heart. Every dollar you hold is a potential army. Deploy it with strategy. Lead it with courage. Multiply it with conviction. That's how wealth compounds. That's how freedom begins. Don't manage money. Multiply it. Because management maintains, but multiplication creates. You've learned to build systems. Now it's time to make those systems expand. Because once you understand multiplication, you'll never settle for maintenance again. You've stopped surviving. You've started multiplying. Now, let's talk about what separates the masters from the amateurs, the art of patience, discipline, and delayed gratification. Chapter 9. Master Emotional Detachment. Title 1,000 words. You think you're broke because of your income. You think you're broke because of the economy. You think you're broke because someone else has more luck, better timing, or better connections. But that's not the truth. The real reason you're broke is because of your emotions. Fear, greed, envy. Those three emotions have destroyed more wealth than any market crash in history. Let's be clear. Your emotions are your enemy in the world of money. Every impulsive decision you've made, every time you bought something you didn't need, every time you sold too early or hesitated too long, it was emotion that made the call. Not logic, not discipline. Emotion, fear made you freeze. Greed made you chase. Envy made you compare. And all three made you broke. The wealthy understand something most people never learn. Money doesn't respond to emotion. It responds to systems. It responds to discipline. It responds to clarity. When you see a storm coming, a market drop, a bad month, a loss, your instinct is to panic. But the wealthy? They stay calm. They don't make emotional decisions because their systems make the decisions for them. That's the difference. You react. They respond. You panic when prices drop. They prepare. You chase when prices rise. They wait. You envy what others have. They analyze how it works. That's the separation between chaos and control, between surviving and multiplying, between managing and mastering. Emotion kills execution. Say it again. Emotion kills execution. Because when you let emotion take the wheel, discipline disappears. And without discipline, your cash flow collapses. Think about it. How many times have you made a decision you knew wasn't smart, but you did it anyway because it felt right? That new car you couldn't afford? That stock tip from a friend? That investment that was really just a gamble? Emotion always disguises itself as logic in the moment. It whispers, you deserve it. It's now or never. Everyone else is doing it, but emotion doesn't build wealth. It burns it. You have to detach, completely, ruthlessly, because the moment you detach, you gain control. Detach to dominate. That's the mantra. Detach from the fear of loss, because loss is part of growth. Detach from the greed for gain, because chasing destroys focus. Detach from envy, because comparison kills gratitude and clarity. When you master detachment, money becomes a tool, not a trigger. You no longer react to it. You command it. You make moves based on data, not dopamine. You build wealth based on systems, not emotion. That's the key. You can't dominate what you're emotionally dependent on. You can't master money if your mood rises and falls with your bank balance. You can't build cash flow if you're emotionally attached to consumption. And you'll never become wealthy if you let emotion dictate your decisions. Let's get practical. Here's how you build emotional detachment. Step 1. Define the system, not the feeling. Before you invest, before you buy, before you act, decide the rules in advance. Set your limits. Write them down. Then stick to them, no matter how you feel. If your system says invest 10% of income monthly, you do it, even if the market looks scary. If your system says never spend more than 50% of your profit, you follow it, even if you want to reward yourself. Emotion says this time is different. Discipline says stick to the plan. Guess which one builds wealth? Step 2, measure behavior, not emotion. Don't ask, how do I feel about my money? Ask, what did I do with my money this week? Wealth isn't emotional. It's behavioral. Track actions, not moods. If you save, invest, and allocate according to your plan, you're winning. Even if it feels boring, boring is good. Boring means consistent. Boring means predictable. Boring builds freedom. The middle class wants excitement. The wealthy want results. Step 3, practice emotional neutrality. When you make or lose money, stay calm. Don't celebrate the highs too much. Don't mourn the lows too long. Observe both with detachment. If you make a profit, good. Note it. Log it. Move on. If you take a loss, fine. Learn, adjust, move on. Emotion turns temporary events into permanent damage. Detach from both victory and defeat. Remember, the goal isn't to feel rich. The goal is to be rich. Now let's expose one of the biggest lies society tells you. They say money is emotional. They say it's tied to your happiness, your self-worth, your identity. That's manipulation. That's marketing. That's how they keep you spending. The wealthy know better. Money isn't emotional. It's mechanical. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't respond to guilt, stress, or pride. It only responds to what you do. That's why you need systems. Systems don't feel fear. Systems don't get greedy. Systems don't envy. Systems execute. You don't need motivation when you have systems. You don't need luck when you have rules. You don't need emotion when you have clarity. But here's the hard truth. Most people would rather feel rich than be rich. They want the dopamine, not the discipline. They want the image, not the infrastructure. They chase the emotional high of buying instead of the quiet power of building. That's why they stay broke. You have a choice. You can keep chasing the emotional rush of instant gratification, or you can embrace the calm, steady rhythm of compounding growth. One will make you feel alive for a moment. The other will make you free for life. Choose freedom. Choose detachment. Detach to dominate. Because when you no longer need money to validate you, money will finally start to serve you. That's the paradox of wealth. The less you chase it emotionally, the more it chases you strategically. You've mastered detachment. You've silenced the emotional noise. Now it's time to focus on what drives everything in your financial life. Energy. Energy isn't just what you spend. It's what you invest. So in the next chapter, we'll go deeper. You've learned how to detach from emotion. Now let's learn how to redirect your energy toward expansion. Chapter 10. Make money your servant. 1 to 50 words. You've been a servant long enough. You've served the system. You've served the bills. You've served the grind. Every morning you wake up and report for duty, and not to a boss, but to money itself. It dictates when you wake, where you go, how long you stay, and how much peace you can afford. That's not freedom. That's financial slavery dressed up as responsibility. And here's the truth. You'll never escape it until you flip the relationship. Money must serve you, not the other way around. When your cash flow works for you, you become free, truly free. Not free because you quit your job. Not free because you hit $1 million in the bank. Free because your time is yours. Freedom isn't about having more. It's about needing less. It's about control. Control of time, control of choices, control of peace. The goal isn't millions. The goal is mastery. Because mastery buys you the one currency the world can't print. Freedom. You have to understand something most people never grasp. Money was never designed to be your master. It was designed to be your tool. Money is like fire. Controlled, it warms you. Uncontrolled, it burns you. Right now, most people are getting burned. Not because they don't have enough money, but because they never learned how to command it. You can earn $5,000 a month or $50,000 a month. It doesn't matter. If you don't control your cash flow, it controls you. You can't serve two masters. So you'd better choose which one you are. The middle class manages money. The wealthy command it. When a middle class person gets paid, they ask, how do I stretch this? When a wealthy person gets paid, they ask, how do I multiply this? That's the difference between survival and strategy. Survival says, I hope it lasts. Strategy says, I'll make it grow. You have to shift from reactive to proactive. Stop waiting for your money to behave. Start training it like a soldier, because every dollar you earn is an employee. If it's not working for you, it's working against you. That's the mindset of mastery. That's the power of command. Let's break it down. There are 3 levels of financial awareness. Level 1, servitude. Money owns you. You trade time for it. You chase it. You fear losing it. You spend it emotionally. That's where most people live, moss in quiet financial desperation, pretending they're free. Level 2, management. You budget, you save, you plan. Better, but still reactionary. You're defending, not attacking. You're maintaining survival, not creating freedom. Level 3, command. Your money works while you sleep. Your systems feed your goals. Your habits automate your wealth. You're not managing money anymore. You're directing it. That's the shift. That's the level of power we're after. To make money your servant, you must do 3 things. Give it a mission. Most people tell their money where to go after it's already gone. The wealthy tell it where to go before they earn it. You have to define the job description for every dollar that enters your life. Every dollar should have a purpose, a plan, a task. Some dollars are for growth. Some are for stability. Some are for giving, but none are for waste. None are for emotion. Remember this. Money without direction becomes destruction. You have a choice. You can lead your money or lose it. Automate your discipline. Systems beat emotions every time. If you rely on motivation, you'll fail. If you rely on discipline, you'll win sometimes. But if you rely on systems, you'll win forever. Your bills should pay themselves. Your investments should move automatically. Your savings should grow without you touching it. Because when you remove emotion, you remove friction. And when you remove friction, wealth compounds quietly in the background. That's how the wealthy operate. Not with passion, but with precision. You don't need to feel rich to become rich. You need structure. That's the key. Build a machine, not a moment. Every financial decision should move you closer to freedom, not just comfort. You don't build freedom by buying better things. You build it by buying better systems. A machine doesn't complain. A machine doesn't sleep. A machine doesn't panic when the market drops. When your cash flow becomes a machine, you win by default, because even when you rest, it runs. Even when you stop, it multiplies. That's how you reclaim control of your life. Here's the truth. Most people won't admit. They don't actually want freedom. They want permission. They want to feel in control without doing the work to earn control. They want financial peace while living in financial chaos. But peace isn't something you buy. Peace is a byproduct of order, and order comes from command. You are either commanding money or obeying it. There's no middle ground. You don't need their permission. You don't need their approval. You don't even need a perfect plan. You just need to make a decision. Money will no longer be my master. Say it out loud. Say it until you believe it. I am the master. Money is the tool. Never reverse that. That's the mantra. That's the law. Because when you live by that principle, you stop chasing freedom and start creating it. Imagine this. Your bills are paid automatically. Your investments grow monthly. Your cash flow funds your time, your peace, your vision. You wake up not because you have to, but because you choose to. That's not a fantasy. That's what happens when money becomes your servant, when your systems work for you, when your habits multiply for you, when your wealth buys back your time, not your ego. That's the kind of freedom worth fighting for. You have a choice. You can stay where you are, serving, reacting, surviving. Or you can rise, commanding, creating, multiplying. One leads to exhaustion. The other leads to expansion. The choice is yours. Remember, you are the master. Money is the tool. Never reverse that, because the moment you forget who serves who, you lose everything. But when you remember, when you live with control, clarity, and conviction, your cash flow becomes power. Your money becomes movement. And your life becomes your own again. You've learned to command your money. You've built systems that serve you. You've taken back control of your time, your peace, and your future. But mastery doesn't stop here, because the next evolution isn't about wealth. It's about impact. What you do with that freedom determines your legacy. So as we close this book, remember, wealth without purpose is just numbers. You've made money your servant. Now it's time to make your impact your mission. Before we close, if this audiobook has shifted your mindset, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to this channel, Business Book Zone. Share this message with the people who need it most. Your friends, your team, your family. Because when you grow, the world around you grows. And every day, new episodes are waiting to help you build, think, and live on a higher level. So, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and don't miss what's coming next. A new lesson every single day. Now, let's end this journey the way it began, with truth. You've been working for money your entire life. You've served it. You've chased it. You've begged for it, but now you know the truth. Money was never the master. You were. Every dollar you touch is a soldier. Every system you build is a worker. Every decision you make either builds your freedom or buys your prison. Stop waiting for raises. Stop waiting for luck. Stop waiting for the world to pay you more. Create, build, automate, invest, command your flow, because the true power of cash flow mastery isn't in making money. It's in mastering yourself. You have a choice. You can keep trading time for survival or start building systems for freedom. Your challenge starts now. Stop working for money. Make it work for you. Starting today, become the master of your cash flow and the architect of your freedom.